Right about there. Okay, cool. Well, I'm so glad to have you and to interview you because people had asked about it. So this is Anntricia Bray Smith, and I did pronounce it properly, correct that time, correct?
Anntricia.
Anntricia.
Yeah.
Anntricia Bray Smith, and a couple weeks ago, she's part of the speaking with the keynote speaker blueprint. Invested in that, and she went through the course, finished your book in record time. And you finished your book in 3 days during the initial 5-day course. And I told everybody about it, we celebrated you and put some links up and all that good stuff. And a couple people reached out to me, said, Eric, I really wish you interview her so I could find out what she did. And my first thought is, well, she just did what I said do, right? But but the truth is, I know we all interpret things differently, and how we take in information and how we process. More importantly, we have our own personal process, how we think about stuff, set goals in this particular case, and accomplish stuff. So I just want to, ask you a couple things about just kind of your mindset. Because I remember a friend of mine says, how we do one thing is how we do everything. And so I'm sure this is not just you finishing the book. I'm sure this is a mindset that you have about a lot of different stuff that you accomplish and get finished. So cool. So everything's good today with you?
Yeah. Just apologize for the background noise.
No apologies. That's family. So that's family. So so this is the book that you finished, correct?
It is.
Struggling to Survive and
Struggling to Forgive.
Forgive. I'm looking right at it. And
well, right now we all struggling to survive. I guess I need to come with a part 2.
That's funny. Yeah. And so talk a little bit. I mainly have one question, really, but just tell me, tell everybody a little bit about yourself and maybe how you, came to be a part of the Keynote Speaker Masterclass, and just anything you want to share, anything that benefits you and benefits everybody else.
Okay. I am Anntricia Bray Smith. I am an educator by trade, and I wrote my first book today in 2019. So it's a year. So within this year, I have produced 3 books, and I am a public speaker. And so I was looking to expand my public speaking platform, and that's when I come across you, Mr. Anderson, in my looking for trainings or courses that I can take to learn how to monetize and expand my public speaking platform. So that's when I come across the April 4th event that you were having in Atlanta, Georgia, and I had made plans, me and a couple other women, to come to Atlanta, Georgia for that event. And since then, just following you as a result of meeting you through that class, through that live virtual event, you offered the opportunity to join you on a panel for writing the book in record time, and we, your students, to learn how to write the book in record time. So this leads me up to this project that I did with you, Struggling to Forgive. So it is the 3rd book that I produced. Where it was taking me weeks to write a book, I wrote this book within 3 days, from the Wednesday to Friday of taking your class.
Okay, very cool. And I realized I wasn't super clear. I remember you had said, and somebody else had mentioned it, but you had said, oh, I didn't realize, when we talked a couple of weeks back, you said, oh, I didn't realize you initially wanted us to finish the book in that time frame, right?
Yes.
And so that was, I thought I was clear about that, but again, we all see and hear things differently. So you technically didn't start until like, I think it was
Wednesday.
day 2 or 3.
Day three on Wednesday is when I started, because I didn't want to just take a course just to be taking it. And I realized that as a result of getting that information from you and learning the tools and resources to produce a book in record time, I was just going through the class writing notes. But then on day 3, it hit me, why would I go through a class to learn how to do something and not really give it everything that I have to be sure that this process works? So I told you guys in that Wednesday class that, and I believe I asked you the question, were we supposed to be trying or writing, engaging in this process? And you was saying, yeah, you'd like for that to happen. And so, I took on that challenge. I took on that task to commit to it. And since I was already writing notes and thinking about some of the things that I would like to write about, then I thought this would be a good place to start.
Yeah.
So I accepted the challenge and just committed my time to the process. And you gave some valuable resources there that I didn't know about and had never considered. And that's using the voice recorder to record and transcribe the information for me. So I had audio and I had some manuscript, and all I did at that time was just start working on putting the pieces of that together to actually produce a product.
Okay. Well, that's awesome. Yeah. And here's one of the really cool things I thought about when you told me you'd finished the books. I went on Amazon, right? Picked up a copy, and what I saw was the publication date, May 15th, 2020, which is the same day that we finished the class.
Same day that we finished,
right?
That's correct.
Yeah, and I thought that was really cool because you went through the entire process and you just got it
Yes.
done. You literally uploaded it and went through that entire process. So I just thought that was beautiful. That was perfect.
Yes, my goal was to finish before class that evening. Okay. And so I had everything uploaded already into KDP at that time, and was just ready to hit submit on your affirmation to let me know that this was the process and to affirm that it was okay to then go ahead and generate the project. So this was a result of a Wednesday through Friday learning, taking in all I could on Monday and Tuesday, and then actually deciding after Wednesday night's class that I was going to engage in the process to see if it could be done, and it was done.
Okay, well, that's awesome. So what else would you like to share with people that, because I think, I think mindset is important. I mean, obviously, so you've already said some excellent stuff, and you said, well, if I'm going to take a course, and this was live. This was initially done live, obviously. Why not just do it as I'm doing it? Because he's, in this case, telling us exactly what to go do. So were there any other steps, mindset, any other, The
mindset that I always have is committing and investing in me. And so often, we can tend to make excuses for why we don't do something or why we don't get something done or meet our goals. But the truth of it is, if that's the mindset we continue to have, if we're always making excuses and starting things and not finish, then that is a cycle that follow us in all parts of our lives. We always find ourselves starting something and not completing it, because there are going to be challenging situations along the way. And so we have to really hone in and keep things that we commit ourselves to as a priority in our lives. Doesn't mean that there won't be obstacles in the way or challenges along the way, but it just means that when you commit to something, nothing else matters at that point. If that is my priority, that's the mindset I have. And I don't like to waste time. My time is valuable. your time is valuable. So I feel like if I come to a class with you and you're taking out your time to teach me a tool or provide me with skills that is going to benefit me in the long run anyway, why not make the best of the time that we have? Why not commit to the process and just dig in?
Okay. Awesome. So each class, I guess, session for the 5-day class, was about an hour. We give or take each one. There was some that was a little longer than that, but we'll just average out an hour. So how much time did you spend either before or after the initial sessions to get everything accomplished?
Monday and Tuesday, I can tell you all I did was take notes of the information that you were providing us. So all I did was take notes. And when class was over, I didn't go back and pick up the notes. Wednesday, when it dawned on me, you're taking out your time to be here with us for an hour and a half a day. My time is valuable too. There's other things that I could be doing, but I chose and I committed myself to be here. So what can I do to gain the most out of this platform from the skills and things that you're giving us? Because I was in awe at just learning that I could do audio or voice and have something transcribed, which I knew it. I had been exposed to it before, but it didn't dawn on me to take that and use it for to help me write a book or to produce a manuscript. I just did not put the pieces together. So I think Wednesday is when I went ahead and went in and created a profile for Otter. And that is what I used to help me with the manuscript, and then to just sit down and start editing and try to put the pieces of that together. So yeah, time is valuable, guys. So you gave some valuable resources, and now all I do is add that to what I do and what I'm teaching from here on out. I'm just building on it and trying to get the word out so that more people know that this tool can be used to help them in completing their projects. And maybe, sometimes sitting typing is some of the frustration from authors. That may be what's most time consuming. It's easier for us to write out something and read it than it is sometimes to sit and type because of our typing skills and things like that. So I just found that having additional tool to use was more helpful for me, and it helped me want to learn more about that software, and then also to see what I can do as a result of it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and it's I always think it's interesting how little minor shifts can make such a huge difference when applied and acted upon. So like you said, you were familiar with it, but just not applying it to this particular process. And so yeah, that's awesome. So okay, so now, and what I think is also great about finishing your book, naturally it gives you an additional product.
Yeah.
Right. And you also now, not necessarily because of this process, but you also teach people how to write their books. Is that correct?
Yes. Okay. It's one of the classes that I offer at my nonprofit is how to write books and how to write grants and business classes, how to start up your own business and things like that. So the resources that I learned from you, this now I share with other people as I'm teaching them and providing them with resources for doing what it is that they want to do.
Yeah, and I think that's important because that's how you have, I'm sure, a different process on how you have them write their books and go through, with your particular process. But again, it's something we add to what we're doing, and you have obviously success with it. So now it's a part of you.
Yes.
Right? Plus your additional information that you know, with the stuff that you know that I wouldn't know, right?
Yes.
But and I think that's the beautiful thing about investing in ourselves,
That's
educating
right.
ourselves in this way, because this is, even though you are an educator, um, in a couple different ways, right?
Yes.
But this is definitely a different type of education.
It is.
It's a very different type of education. So that's awesome. So you got a new product, which is important. Okay.
Yes.
And
And I did everything just from home. I did everything just from my computer. There was nothing added in that process. Everything was right here from home. Even the book cover, I just took a picture from my computer and uploaded it into KDP and created a book cover. So there is nothing extra, no outside investment, none of that as it relates to this product. And I give all recognition to you. I even wanted to recognize you there in the acknowledgments for offering this class, and that this book is a product of what you taught me. Because without me taking that class with you and investing time with you to learn and to be willing to learn and to apply the process, that book wouldn't exist. So I just thank you for sharing. And as a result of that, you know, I was able to benefit from that. So I call that a win-win situation.
well, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. And I also want to point out too, what you just did was, and I think this is important because even when you finish, I'm going to point out the second part, that I'm going to point out what you
Okay.
said. You finished the book, you know, you're part of my Eric's Escapades, and I started to celebrate you in a number of emails that had gone, you know, communications talking about, hey, well, look what she's done, you know. And one, because I was, you know, happy. I mean, I just, you know, when you share something with somebody and they actually go take action on it, right? And not just take action, actually get the result from it. That's, you know, for us that are in the, I guess, continuing education business, or I hate to say guru business because I'm far from, I am not a, right? But that whole thing, it's great to see somebody take action, get the result that they intended on getting. And like you said, it's a win-win. And what you just did was you celebrated me, right? Saying, hey,
yes,
thank you very much. And I think that's important to bring up because I know a lot of people find it difficult to celebrate somebody else in their success. And not realizing, not realizing there's a whole lot of abundance in the world, you know, and there's nothing wrong with celebrating other people. That's what we're supposed to do.
yes,
And that's important because I know some people just have this mindset that it's just me, or they don't want to reveal the source of how they learned what they learned, or you know, whatever. So yeah, so I appreciate that. Well, thank you very much. And it says a lot, one, about mindset when you're able to do that. So
yeah, I don't know of any of us that get where we are in life, especially on this road to success and expanding by ourselves. We all need someone else, and whether it is that we're learning one-on-one like you and like I learned from you as a mentor, I consider you my mentor, or if we're listening to audio of those past that have done it. We all have to learn from somebody, and it just makes things so much easier. Not only that, but when we have someone that's taken out their time to be a mentor or to teach us something, you know, we don't want to waste their time. And then that's kind of the mindset I have. You know, I don't want to waste your time. I don't want you to feel like you're just doing something just to be doing something. And at the same time, when I commit myself to something, I want to feel accomplished at the end of the day. I want to know that what I am learning is possible, and that it's something that I can share with other people to just help them up to get a little farther down the road as well. So,
and it's about shortening that learning curve for all of us, you know, and that's what's important too. So awesome. So any So I know there's always the, as they say, the frequently asked questions, and then there's the questions we don't know to ask. So am I missing something? Like, what else could I be missing that I'm not necessarily asking that I should ask?
Uh, I don't know of anything that we haven't shared. I mean, it's just like I said, I've done it all right here from my laptop. The same tool I used to engage in class with you, I used it to produce a product, and it can be done.
Yeah. So what you're saying is, to do the book, it did not cost you anything to do. There was no
Nothing.
Yeah. So there was no investment to actually get that done in that 3-day period.
Just your time. Just your time, which is what we're investing anyway when we register for a course or when we commit ourselves to a course. So
Yep.
just
So
our
the book has
time.
been out a little over a month now. A little over a month. Okay.
And it's coming on audio now. See, I started out when I uploaded it to ebook, and then eventually, my audience was asking for paperback, and so I did put it in paperback. So it is available in paperback now, and I have also produced a audio version for it, and I'm just ready for it to go under. It's under review now, and then it'll be also available on audio.
Okay. Now I want to point that. Okay, so you said something interesting. I think is interesting. You said my audience requested that I do the book in paperback, right? So tell me a little bit about that, because I always tell people there's a higher perceived value in physical stuff that people can hold. Even though we have ebooks and all the other stuff and Kindle books and all that stuff, there's still a large portion of people that want to be able to physically hold it. And I'm in that category. I like to hold it, put it in my pocket, walk with it, read it, So it's great that they requested that.
Yeah. My audience, my target audience are women who are between the ages of 40 and 65. Okay. And many of them like just a paperback copy so they can have it and put it in their libraries. Many of them are not tech savvy, so they don't have the Kindle or the digital capabilities. And then there are a select few of my audience that prefer the audio version. And I imagine that it's because of the eyesight. Maybe they don't see as well, or it's just easier to listen to the audio. So I'm one of those. I prefer the audio version. Now, I want a hand copy, but I also want the audio version to go along with it, because I can listen to something even when I can't commit to sitting down and actually reading it. So just having those different formats available helps me reach and meet the needs of my audience all across the board. So, and I like to have those paperbacks, because when I go somewhere and I do an event, or I'm speaking, or I'm doing giveaways or something, this is something that a piece of me that I can give and gift to other people, so that they too can share in the blessings that I believe that those books do for so many people.
Yeah, that's awesome. So essentially, right, and here's also what you said, is one product turned into 3 products.
Yes.
Correct. Okay. So let me ask you this, and I don't know the answer for this. I'm not looking for numbers, but have people bought multiple? So they bought the physical, the audio, and the Kindle book, right?
Yes, in the Struggling to Forgive, yes.
Yeah.
Not the audio yet, because the audio is not available. But I've had some that's contacting me waiting for the audio to be released. Now it's been produced, but it's waiting on a review. And this is why I see with so many of our books that we're producing, it's not on audio. So we're missing out on some audiences that or people that would buy our product if we just do what just put our product that we already have on audio, and I used the acx.com is what I use, and it doesn't cost anything, and all you're doing is just scratching that product you have just a little bit more to generate more revenue from the product that you've already created.
Okay, so tell us about ACX, because I remember you mentioned that last time.
Mm-hmm.
And I have one of my books on audio, but I did not go through this service. So is this something that you could share with us?
It is. See, acx.com, it is a product of Amazon, but you don't hear about it when you're on KDP. It's something that you really have to do the research. And ACX, they already have producers there. They audition for your book. All you're doing is creating your profile, uploading a script for audition, for producers to audition for your book. You choose whoever you want to narrate your book from that site. They're already qualified there, and it costs us nothing. They audition, you select who you like, what you like, and you tell when you want the first 15 minutes of your product released to you. You also tell them when you want the completed project all together. Now, the way they get paid is one of three ways. They get paid by, say your book takes 2 hours to produce, then you can pay them so much an hour, or you can split between a royalty share and so much an hour, or strictly royalty share. The way I do it is through royalty share. So I'm partnering, my mindset when I'm working with somebody through ACX to produce an audio book with me, I'm partnering with that person. So then what I do is I split my royalty from the cost of my books half with them. So from every book or from every audio that I sell from here on out to whenever, I get half, they get half. And that is the way we both are able to have income that's continually coming in. Right. Because I look at that as a partnership. But that's just extra income that I'm getting in from a product that has already been produced. It doesn't cost me anything up front, and my royalties continue to come in, and I have to do nothing. I absolutely have to do nothing. I don't have to manage. I don't have to do a whole lot of marketing when it comes to it. And those books that ACX do, they're produced not only on Amazon, where it shows up alongside of my books. When you pull up my books there, it shows also the audio version, but they're also on iTunes and Audible. So they produce good work, and the people there are they're good business partners to partner up with in those products. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. So again, your total investment in that sounds like zero.
Zero.
Right.
It's zero. I mean, how awesome is that?
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think sometimes people forget, especially now, mm-hmm. It's so easy to make money, and there's so many opportunities. Assuming you want other people to win, right?
Yes. It's all about that. Well, I'm going to hold somebody back.
Exactly.
Hold somebody else down. Sometimes all we need is that information, that encouragement, that know-how to get us to the place where we really desire to be, or what we know we can be. And if it's not for me, does not necessarily mean it's not for you. So sharing that information and you applying it however it applies to your life, then if that's a win-win for you, then it is. It's a win-win for me, because it's a win for me knowing that I was able to share something with you to help give you that extra push or help get you to that next level. And it's a win-win for you for applying it and then testing the process to know that it works.
Yep. No, that's great. Yeah, thanks for sharing. I remember you mentioned it last time, and I heard it, but I had not heard of it. And I heard what you said, but I'd never heard of it before. And I said, okay, well, that's great, because So it's another producer, somebody, by producer, somebody.
A narrator. They call them producers in
Okay.
ACX. They call them producers, and there are thousands of them. And I haven't had any problems with them. I've been satisfied, and the people, they really take their work serious, and if they accept your offer for whichever one you go with, I mean, it's worth it.
That's great. I want everybody to hear what she said. One product turned into three. So you got your physical book, you got your Kindle book, and you got your audio book. And you have people that have already bought the physical book
and the Kindle
book,
and waiting on the audio
book, right?
Yes,
so they're buying the exact same product.
Yes.
In 3 different formats.
3 different formats.
Exactly,
yes.
Right. I want everybody to hear that, because when I first ran against that, I first came up against that with a gentleman who was on an event, and he came up to me and he bought the product I had, and then I went back to that same venue a couple years later, and the same guy was there, and he came up and bought the product again, and I wasn't quite sure. I said, I know he bought this last time, I thought, but I didn't think about it. So the third time, I know he had bought it. And I said, look, I remember his name, Bill. I said, Bill, look, I know you bought this last time. And he said, no, I just want to make sure I got it. I said, I know you have it, Bill. He says, oh, I want to get it again. And he got it again. Right? Yeah. So, and I think and I'm so glad you shared that, because it's important for people to hear that. Right. So you basically made 3 times.
Yes.
What you normally would have made.
That's right. Yes. And I tell you what, and I shared this on my platform, so I think it's necessary to share it with you. The audio books that are produced through ACX has generated more revenue for me than the Kindle and the paperback put together. So that is how amazing that platform is. It just goes to also show us how people are reading nowadays, how they're getting that knowledge, because so many of us commute to work, and this is where I started. I commute 2 hours a day during my work year. 2 hours a day I'm spending on the road, and that is how I began to shift my mindset and begin to turn the direction of my life around. It's just by listening to audios. I turned my car into a university. Right. So things that I've mastered, I mastered it from the driver's seat of my car. And so many people like me are commuting, and they have these commutes to work, and they're having to travel and things like that. And this is the time that they read and that they meditate and do things that they don't otherwise have time to do. So it just gives them an opportunity to get to know you through the work that you are producing.
That's great. And I wouldn't have, I didn't know that you're selling more audio to other books. That's great to hear. And I'm a big believer in testing, so I'll go try it. I mean,
I'm waiting on it.
Books, yeah, I believe you. Yeah,
I'm waiting on it. I look all the time at authors and people that I'm meeting, and they have books, and I'm looking and they have one version or the other, but very rarely do I see one that is in all 3 formats. And it's just so important, because for me to engage in a book and to be able to look and enjoy that product, I almost have to have audio, because my vision is not the best. And my reading comprehension is not the best. But I had to teach myself to see it in different ways and to hear it. And when I can do that, I can retain that information. And so I can just enjoy your product so much better, not only to have it tangible, but to have an audio piece to go along with it. So,
yeah, that's awesome. That's fantastic. So, so we definitely want people to support you. So let's see. And are you able to see that okay?
I can see it.
Okay, so this is her website, right?
That is, yes.
And So yeah, go there, and I know it's under. Is it under products?
Books
Books.
and
Okay.
resources,
Yeah,
books and
yeah. Books and
resources
resources.
tab.
Okay.
hmm
Yeah. So visitor there. Go to the website and
And
invest.
all you have to do is click on it. It take you right to the Amazon site to where you can pick out whatever version of the book you like. And also my other books are located there as well. So
That's awesome. Again, thanks for all the additional information there with ACX. I did write that down. So I will look into that ASAP.
yes,
And
because remember I'm waiting on your book, right?
say it again.
Because remember I'm waiting on your book, right?
Yeah. Are you ready to buy book in audio version? I can send you the audio version of it. Got the Magic of Attitude or
Is it The Magic of Attitude? What's the other one you have?
the Ultimate Passionpreneur?
I think that was the one.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I do not have the audio version of.
I haven't seen The Magic of Attitude, but I may need it.
Yeah.
I may need to refresh on my attitude.
Yeah. Well, also, I think what was also interesting, and are you good on time?
Oh yeah, I'm good. I know.
I think also what was interesting is you said you had a 2-hour commute and you at some point committed to yourself, and correct me if I'm incorrect, you said that's when you started to kind of shift.
Mm-hmm. That's when my mindset began to shift. Yeah.
Okay.
And it was because, so often we're mediocre. We're mediocre because that's just the average and ordinary way to be. We've never done anything great or never thought outside our environment or the things that we have been conditioned to. We just feel like whatever we are and whoever we are, we just accept that as being that. Well, when I began to turn my vehicle into a university and really begin to want to learn and get more out of life, as a result, it shifted my mindset. Okay. So now I don't look at myself as being mediocre or living in mediocrity. My mindset is so much better. It's expanded. It's a positive mindset. It's a mindset of success. It's a mindset of wanting to give and to mentor and to share so that we can break these generational cycles of poverty and so many other things that we lack in our own cultures and in our own communities. So I use what I learn and I apply it to the things that I do, so that if my mindset can change and then you can see the transition, or you can see the difference in me, then I know that process works. And so what I do in return is to teach other people. And I also apply it in my books, so many ways that I have learned to overcome some of the challenges in my life. I share that and I'm transparent in that. And so what that does for the readers who read the book or to read the books is if they do the work and they apply it to their own situation, I believe as a result that they too will be transformed and that their mindsets will begin to shift as they begin to see a different way of living and a different way of doing things.
Right. Awesome. So now, was there, and again, anything you want to share? So was there a moment so I know personally for me, at some point early on, coming out of foster care, desperation sat in, right? And I said, okay, I got to do something. I got to figure this out, which turned out to be a great thing, right? That was actually really good. Thing that happened where you said, okay, enough is enough. And if that's something you want to talk about or share.
I don't mind sharing it all because it is just a part of my story altogether. Issues that I have had in life created cycles of unfulfillment, cycles of blaming other people for why I couldn't get what I desired out of life, why I couldn't go higher in my career when I knew I was qualified. It just created a cycle that kept me in a place to where I felt as though I was stuck. But I knew that there had to be something better to life. I had to be created in this life for more than I was accomplishing. I just needed the know-how. How do I press past this point? How do I reach the level of success that I dream about, or that I know that I am destined and purposed to accomplish? So after listening to motivational speakers, and after listening to audiobooks of people who have accomplished, or people that are doing things that I desire to do, or where I see myself going as a result, it began to give me insight. And what I found is that one of the things that was holding me back, and not only one of the things, but the only thing that was holding me back, was my limited mindset.
Mhm.
And so once I began to work on the issues with me, and really looking at what my fears were and what my mindset limitations were, and looking at the things that held me back, holding on to past issues and past regrets, and seeing how that affected me and impacted every area of my life, then once I began to get me in a better space and get my mind in a better space, then everything else just followed.
Yeah.
So now there's no room for excuses. Yes, we're going to have obstacles. Yes, life is going to come punch us in the face every now and then. But in the process, we have to keep our minds focused, because we are going to move toward the things that we keep in front of us.
Mhm.
And as long as it's in front of us, and as long as we can see it, and as long as we can continue to dream it, we can accomplish it.
Yep. Yep. That's awesome. I mean, I'll leave that at that. That's nothing else needs to be said, but it's yeah, that mind is important. So
It is.
yeah, thanks for sharing. And it also, with everything going on in the world and things that will happen and continue to happen, the only thing that you could run out of money, you could lose friendship, but as long as you keep, as you said, right, as long as you keep that going, but you could keep it going. So
yeah, life is gonna punch us in the face. We know that. You know that you've hit enough successes in your life that you know that while you're on your road to doing great things, Murphy is gonna show up. You know that by now.
Yeah,
You're not gonna get anywhere just on a bed of roses. There are some things that may come without its share of challenges or barriers in the way, but for the most part, when you're on the road to something good, you have to press your way through it all. And so that's even with our finances. This pandemic, it caught some of us by surprise, but for others, we had already did what it takes to plan and prepare. And that's the mindset that I think that it is going to continue to come at us. It's going to challenge us to prepare. We cannot just live life so loosely that when challenges come our way, or when something like this pandemic show up, that we fall by the wayside. See, we already have passive income and things like that are still in place. So even when the money runs low, we have something to help sustain us throughout those more difficult times, because there are people that are still going to buy. There are people that are just now taking that first step to do what they are trying to get to where we are. There are people that are looking at us, and when we show up every day, and when we commit to helping them and encouraging them in the times that we've already overcome, then we benefit as a result of that.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people have recognized now, because of what's happened that you need to have something else in place.
Mm-hmm.
And if they don't get it now, when they get it. But yeah, that's so important. So I'm glad you said that.
Well, that's what we're here for, to just help encourage them along the way that it can be done. You know, it's going to be hard, but we still have to go through the process. And nothing worth having in my life has came easy. So it's about just digging in and just making it happen. So
yeah,
that's the way I encourage others to do, you know, in business. And you know, you've been in business probably about as long as I have. You know, you have those good times and you have those not so good times, but you prepare in the plentiful for those times such as we're having now, because and then we have to, like you used the word pivot, we have to make pivots and see how we can do to still make things happen, but also to be able to make adjustments in it so that others can benefit as well.
Well, even with when you invested in yourself, in my information, we were in the middle of it.
That's right.
Right in the middle of the pandemic, right? And I think that's important for people to realize is things are still happening, right? And just because, things are still happening. So,
but we also, you know, there was flexibility, you know, and so we have to use our communication skills to our advantage. We have to communicate. You know, how would you know if there was needs or something that we wanted to do, but had to use a flexible plan or something like that to make it happen. So that's why our communication skills are important. You know, if we don't communicate, then we can't just assume that it's not for us because we needed to accomplish what we're investing in a different way. So it's just all about really understanding and knowing what your needs are, finding something that you can invest in that works for you, because not everything is for all of us. You know, not everything that I offer is going to be for everybody, but for who it is for, I want to make it accessible for them to benefit from it. And at the same time, you know, we all benefit.
Yep. That's awesome. So awesome. Well, I'm going to turn this off in a second, but I want to, you know, thanks for doing the interview. This is, I mean, and I was going to make this the escapade today, right? If I can get it down in time and get it to you and
yes.
Because I know some people were waiting on it. So, and last week was a little hectic. So, but yeah, so thanks for doing the interview, and let's see, I really appreciate it.
Well, thanks for you taking out the time to sit and chat with me.